Giving Gabriel a couple seconds here to finish adding to the core agenda.
Thank you. But you can proceed. I mean, I can still keep adding this.
So, uh, does anyone have any news? It just doesn't show up on the agenda in any, something to report? Someone know of usage or activities, anything? General interest? All right, well, let's go ahead and get started. I think we still have one lingering topic on infrastructure, which I believe Eric was going to replicate what had been done on OMAC project over on ONO's project. Not try to push too hard to share code, but just to replicate it. Eric, is that any progress on that?
Currently that's going to get started probably either later today or tomorrow. So yeah, it'll be underway in the near future, and at least the initial part should be very quick, and then actually implementing it. So
Are there
it'll
any?
just be a large lift of code and then going through the repos and sort of making the changes to each set of actions and workflow.
Yeah. Hopefully it's pretty straightforward.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any other topics I'm forgetting about?
I don't believe so. That's the only thing
Okay.
I've got right now for Aether's infrastructure.
All right. If you're ready, Gabriel, we could start on core, or we could jump ahead to on-ramp.
Yeah, I'm ready. So I guess you can hear me, right?
Go ahead.
So one of the kind of like most, I would say, exciting things going on is the progress on the 3GPP release upgrade. We are currently concentrated on the service-based interface. And I had good progress in the past, but we were not able to automatically generate callbacks for the code. After kind of like spending a few good amount of time, kind of like I believe now we are able to kind of generate this callback code automatically, and that's something that I need to start testing. But still, we have a few more issues that we need to address. So, but I mean, going well so far. So, trying to kind of find some spare time to keep working on this. But yeah, it's going a good thing. At least from the callback perspective, it's a nice progress. There are a few things that when going through the code, I noticed that there is from 3GPP perspective, basically there are several variables that have kind of like a similar names, or they actually have the same name, but their definition is completely different and different specifications. So there is basically this kind of collide, or one replaces the other, which makes very confusing. So what I have been trying to do is try to kind of like unify these structs. The issue that I'm going to start seeing now, there is one SNSSA AI that is just called like that, for the slicing side. And there is another one that is called EXT SNSSI. So basically this either extended or extension SNSSI has a few more parameters, but I don't see that we are using. But at some point we need to use one and then we need to switch it to the other. So having these multiple things makes things a little bit more complicated. So what I'm trying to do is kind of trying to unify all this into a single variable such that the code makes things simpler to move code around from the perspective like we receive a slicing information from one side and then we pass it directly instead of kind of like changing from the regular receive the slicing information, changing to the other struct that is fairly similar and then passing it again. So trying to simplify from that perspective, those are kind of like a few more issues that need to be addressed, and then I need to kind of go try to start kind of like running some tests. But at the moment, I'm fully concentrated on the callback. and making sure that there is no issues and that everything should be working as expected. Now, the second bullet point is with the help of the canonical team, specifically Patricia, we have been kind of re-enabling or enabling several linters in the code base that were kind of like disabled in the past. So she has been adding, properly addressing all these linter issues, and we have been kind of merging all that stuff. Then the other thing that we have done in the core is, lastly, we haven't had that much chance to take a look at the issues that are pending. We have like around like 20 issues pending at the moment across the whole core network. So we started looking into those. There was one issue that a researcher from NIST reported probably like almost a year ago with the GenoVC. So the use case that he was having is basically he was running 40 the registrations in parallel, but each the registration had its own slice. So in my case, I was using a on-ramp to try to replicate the issue, but there was no issue, right? But it may seem that the use case that he was having was one UE per slice. But yeah, so after kind of going back and forth a couple times, he confirmed that we resolved the issue by addressing a few things with the logs in the code. So the issue was a concurrency issue that we have a map where the UEs were written into, but at the same time they were read from. And then that issue also got resolved. So we are kind of like looking into additional issues to address. Yeah, Suresh is here as well. So there are a couple issues also related to the UPF, where this same researcher from NIST is trying to use the base UPF. I believe he's using with the Free5GC, and it's kind of like there is some kind of compatibility issue. So Suresh is going to take a look at that. And there is another person who opened an issue that was trying to use the base UPF with the OAI core network. So yeah, we are going to try to take a look into that as well. So try to close as many issues as possible. But I saw that this morning Patricia from the canonical team opened like 4 more issues regarding deleting some slices, but from the web UI. But I haven't had a chance to kind of take a closer look into that. Yeah, so besides that, we are also in the process of creating minor releases for the entire code base. And this is because we move, due to some Golang dependencies, we move all the modules or all the code for the SD core to the latest Golang major version, which is 124. On top of that, to use the latest Golang CI linter, we moved to version 2, and we have been addressing a few more things. So that kind of like triggered the decision to kind of start moving to a new, make a new minor release on this. We started doing this yesterday, so I opened a couple PRs. Gislan helped me approving them, but I noticed that for some reason the tag is not getting automatically created. So that's something that I need to take a closer look to what is happening, because that's something that was working before. I don't know what happened, so I need to take a closer look on that. I believe that's at least from my side of the core. I don't know, Gislan, if you have anything else, any update about the config 5G that you guys were planning to do, or I don't see Elijah here.
Yeah, on the config 5G, there's nothing yet ready to present. There's Patricia has been working on the design and the specification for that. We're investigating a couple of things, going through the different network functions, making sure that the data they're receiving from web console makes sense and is required. So we're trying to simplify it. So we're really turning every stones on the way. So yeah, once it's ready, for sure I'll bring it here for discussion before any implementation work starts. And I'll ask Patricia if she wants to present to the TST. So once it's a bit more clear, we'll add that to the agenda.
Thanks. I'm, yeah, looking forward to that. So I don't want to put anyone on the spot, but just so everyone knows, I had a conversation with the new oversight person at Canonical, Benjamin Reisman, just about what's going on at Canonical. And we've heard about the work that we're looking forward to hearing about. But the other thing that I learned is that from him is that the Charms version of the SD core is going to go to beta with some users. I believe the note I jotted down was October of 25. So the last quarter, and his hearing about progress on release 18 just connected that it would be great if release 18 could be included in that beta. So Gabriel, I don't know where you see things in terms of timing. They would need time before the beta to do their own testing, I'm sure. But if we were able to get through 18 by sometime, June-ish, is that feasible?
Hi, Larry. No, I don't think that is feasible, Larry. I just basically added one more bullet point in the 3GPP release 18. So at the moment, I'm fully concentrated on the service-based interface. Basically, just move the service-based interface to release 18, right? But there, we still have a few more things to kind of move into the release 18, which is basically the N2, N1, and N4 interfaces. So work is still needed. Additional work is needed. So actually, if there is anybody can help me, that would be great. And the other part, I am kind of doing this release 18 in when I have some spare time. I have kind of like a primary project where I'm fully concentrated on, but I do want to kind of continue having some progress on the release 18. So that's where I'm kind of spending several extra hours basically to kind of keep moving forward this effort. But realistically speaking, I don't think I will be able to kind of have the whole release 18 by June. We are already April, and we need to kind of deliver some stuff by the end of the month, and also we need to start doing some demos for our other project by June. So that's where most of my effort will be.
All right,
And
thanks.
this
I just wanted to get your sense of it.
Oh, Christian is here, actually. He has the power to say what I do.
No, but yeah, I mean, this other project, Larry, as you know, is related to on-ramp, right? That's a project we do with the Navy, right? But if some people could help us here, could help Gabriel, and Suresh to address some of this release 18 issue to move faster, that would be great, right? Is there any opportunity to get, same as last year, some interns from the Linux Foundation, last year we had Bilal, right? Someone who be focused, someone with a background on cellular network, could focus on release 18, progress. That will help a lot, right?
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, just for Canonical's information, if it was something that could be a big splash, there's a place to plug any Canonical resources in.
Yeah,
Well.
definitely. Larry, I'll have a discussion with Benjamin on this, and if it's a goal that we have, we're soon to plan our next cycle for 2510. So we're planning what we will be working on, and if it's something that Benjamin is interested in getting in the product, then definitely we can justify scheduling some time to help on that. So I'll have a discussion with Benjamin and Guillaume to see if we can provide some help on that.
That's great. That's great. And I guess the other place that organization is the Indian open source mobile core effort, which I think maybe you guys are working with, and they participate here as well. So that's another, if we could light a fire under someone else that's involved in the core, we might push that ahead a little faster. All right, that's good. Anything else on the core?
From the core perspective, I don't think there is anything else, at least at the moment, that I remember.
Okay. I don't have any update on the RAN. I don't see anyone on. would? Okay,
You
so
know,
let's move on
for
ramp.
the SD-RAN, some of the issue we had, Larry, right, with SD-RAN, with interconnecting with SRS-RAN, right? Yeah, so the rig does not work when we interconnect with SRS-RAN, right? And we wanted to really use ONF rig, but because it doesn't interconnect with SRS-RAN, for the Navy, we're going to have to switch rig very soon, right, due to the deliverable timeline.
Yeah, and I'm aware of that. Did you have any progress with Ujong or anyone else?
So I had a call with Wujon last Wednesday, and it seems like he's having issues trying to make it work. So he said that this is gonna take him kind of like quite some time, and especially he's having these issues with atomics that is not that flexible to work based on what he said. So there is no like a
That's
deadline yet,
troublesome.
because yeah, the other thing I wanted to kind of highlight on that, my understanding at least, atomics is also being used by the rock, so that may be something that it would be good to take a closer look into that, because the summary was that the issue that there is a lot of reliance on atomics, and because of those, he was kind of like it was very challenging for Wujon to be able to make the modifications needed to make SRS run work with the rig work with the SRS run.
Mhm. I mean, I know we have this dependency on atomics right now. It hasn't been a problem. Well, we had a problem a couple of years ago with it, but it hasn't been a problem recently for us with rock. But if that's what he's tripping over, then that's going to be a problem. We have a feeling. Yeah, if we had someone interested in replacing atomics, that would be a good project. But I don't know that we do. All right. Yeah, Christian, just keep us informed on when you reach that go, no go decision.
Wait, to be very soon, because, as Gabriel mentioned, we have this June demo that is due to other part of the Navy, right? And so, we tried with ONF rig, but it doesn't go through, right? Gabriel and Wunjon made one modification to the rig, to one of these, E2 interface update, but still, it still doesn't go through after, right? We're not able to connect and extract the data, right? And so for us, we already pressed by time here, right?
Yeah.
Because this other team,
so
the Navy really wants to show the rig and just, just the KPM XAP, right? Just to extract some parameter from SRS-RAN. They don't ask too much, right? But they really want to show the rig and have the ability to extract a few parameters from the RAN.
Yeah, so at the moment is basically I'm kind of like put my eyes on start deploying the OSC rig at the moment. I have been kind of trying to postpone that as much as possible, but there is no, we have this kind of hard deadline by June the demo be ready, so I need to probably in a week or two have this OSC rig deployed. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks for the update. I don't know.
And after when the cat is out of the bag, it's hard to difficult to put it back, right?
No, I know. I realize that this is a significant step, and I don't.
Yep.
I wish I had an answer, but we don't.
Yeah. And especially they are interested later on to kind of deploy additional XApps, to integrate additional XApps into the rig. So that's kind of like a big opportunity that's going to be missed on the SD-RAN project itself.
So just, I'm wondering about the Iowa State experience here. You're using the RIC, but you're using with OAI, correct?
Yeah, we use OAI.
Yeah,
Okay.
but still the OAI, as if I'm not mistaken, the OAI that you guys are using is the one that is from the ONOS project, right? It's not the open source OAI, right?
I think it's open source.
What I mean, whether it comes from the from the OAI Alliance, or does it come from or is the version that was forked by the ONOS project?
Yeah, so they do get a library from OSC to add the like
OSC, but the OSC is the ORAN software community.
yeah, right.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, I can share some reference with you if needed.
Yeah, because as far as I remember, I mean, there was this custom version that I believe Kushalius that put the E2 agent on this OAI fork in the Honest project that used to work, but I'm not sure whether it was the actual OAI upstream source, the one that works with the rig.
I think it works. Let me share like let me try to find the reference and share. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Let me just try. Oops. Summarize here. Okay. On to on-ramp. I've reported it before, but it's a very bizarre situation. The two AMP-related integration tests fail. I said regularly. They almost always fail, but they don't 100% always fail. So occasionally they will, it will work. So just for example, on April 10th, the variant on 2404 worked. It hasn't since. Similarly for the 2204. Basically, the GNB sim runs, but none of the UEs connect. And it's not a matter of having extra delays in. It's something internal to the core. Yeah, I don't know what it is.
Do you collect the logs for the
The
different?
logs are all there, yeah. So the logs, so just using 2404 as the example, since it ran there successfully most recently, you can get the logs for working and non-working.
Or
here.
non-working. Do you mind to send that link? I can try to take a look, because there is two things that I have noticed. Yesterday I was running several simulations from all the way from 1 UE to 100 UEs in steps, typically in steps of 5. Because there was one person who was kind of reporting that the latency for the registration procedure was way much higher for 5 UEs compared to the 20 UEs. So I was trying to kind of replicate those results, but I never saw the issue. But when I was kind of running all these different kind of sweepings of different ranges for UEs, there was a couple times that the SMF crashed. And that's something that I need to kind of take a closer look to understand why it crashed. One thing may be that something related to that, and that's what I was asking you about the logs. And the other part would be that, and that's related to what I was asking Gislan about the config 5G re-architecture. Yeah. Time to time, I have noticed that for some reason, the configuration information doesn't get loaded into the different NFs. So when that happens, of course, there is no G0V is going to be able to connect, because the AMF, SMF, none has any configuration. That might be another possible reason. But yeah, if we have the logs, that would be a good thing to kind of take a closer look.
Yeah, so I'm highlighting If you follow this link, you will see both a working and non-working. If you click on the non-working, you'll get the logs.
Okay.
And I'm just suggesting the 2404 just because it did work there most recently, but either one of them would get you to logs for the failed and the latest working version. And I think you're right. The way this is manifesting, it is something like what you just described.
Mm,
So you
Yeah.
should, I mean, I would interpret the fact that the integration test is failing as a, a signal that there's something not. I don't think it's the test. I think it's something is amiss.
But Larry, let's see. Oh,
I'm
okay.
sorry.
No, sorry, never mind. I was trying to see at the logs, and now I found it.
Okay, good. Thanks.
Yeah. So Tiani, I see that he just sent a message. Yeah, no, I know that the OAI does have an E2 agent. No, my question is whether you guys are using that E2 agent or basically that specific open source version with the SDRAN rig, or whether you are using the OAI version that comes from the other project. That was my question.
Sorry, can you repeat? I cannot hear you very
Yeah,
clearly.
so sure. You just send a link from the OAI repository where you are pointing me to the E2 interface, right?
Yeah.
But my question is, you guys are using that specific repository to connect to the SDRAN rig?
No, this is just for OEI and other standard rigs. Yeah.
Have you tested this E2 agent with the SDRAN rig?
No, I don't think that that works with the 1.4 SD-RAN yet. We
Oh,
have
okay.
1.5 yet.
Okay. Yeah, because I know that at some point I believe Kushal for one of the demos for a couple of years ago, he forked the OAI software and enabled or implemented an E2 agent to make it work with the SDRAN. So, but of course, at that time there was no E2 agent from OAI, so that's why he implemented. But I wasn't sure whether the actual open source version of the E2 agent actually works with the SDRAN.
Okay.
But yeah, thanks for the link.
Okay, thanks. One last point on an on-ramp, which is this has informally been the case, but I just wanted to make it clear the way I'm thinking about on-ramp. Master is effectively the latest candidate. It's going to have passed basic tests, or we wouldn't have committed the latest changes to on-ramp. But the key thing is, does it pass all the tests? Because we now have a pretty significant number of blueprints to test, and any one bit of work is probably tested a subset of them. So the way that I am managing this is I will tag a release once it consistently passes all the integration tests. Most people would be perfectly fine with master, but there is some signal that things aren't 100% right. So the last time that I tagged was roughly 2 months ago. So there's been a pretty significant amount of work in on-ramp reflecting changes in the core that are not included in that. And again, it gets back to once we're getting a good reading on these jobs consistently, then that would be a signal that I could go ahead and tag it as known to work across all blueprints. And I mean, it's an informal thing, but I'll note in the documents as to how to interpret the tag versus master. Any comments or feedback or thoughts on that? All right, is there anything else?
Maybe my only suggestion on that is whether you can rename the master branch to me. It's just for my convenience in the sense that since I have everything, all my automation tooling as a main branch because of the SD core repositories. So
Yeah,
now
at
we
some
also
point I will get
contribute.
around to doing that. I mean, that's independent of this issue, but yeah.
It's just going to kind of simplify my automation on that
Yeah.
side. So
Yeah, I understand. Any other topics, or are we done?
regarding the SD-RAN, do you have any thoughts, any plan on?
We're dependent upon the people that are contributing to SD-RAN, and unfortunately, that's a very thin number right now. I wish it were not the case. We have proposals in the works to change that, but we don't have any people other than Ujong and the students that he can bring to bear on it at the moment. I wish there was a different answer. Is there anything else? All right, thanks everyone. We'll see you again in 2 weeks. Bye-bye.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Yeah, thank you.